Hey everyone, it's Lauren here, and I decided I'd start with some mixed media goodness. Now, I cut this background. These were just the middle section of the layered flowers when that cut file that Anita made for us. So I just copied and pasted them into the Silhouette Studio and then just layered them around, sized a couple so they were a little bit different, and then made this background. I thought it'd be really cool to do exactly what I'm doing now and use it like a stencil. It would also be really cool to use to layer the back of it with some pattern paper. So that's definitely something you can do. But it's always really fun to just have a little play in Silhouette Studio and just move things around. So I've just used the Vicky Buden Golden Glaze, and it looks so nice. And I just thought I only have the 8.5 by 11 portrait silhouette, not a 12 by 12. So I had to put it to the side here, and you can see a little bit covers, like layers up, but that's okay. I'm gonna use it like that. But look at the black cardstock, looks really nice too like that. Anyway, so I pulled out some photos. I thought it'd be nice to use these 3 photos together. They don't have much color. Well, they don't have any color in the photos, so it's nice to just have something a bit more simple. Then I can add a bit of color and then use that gold background to finish, to have that finishing touch of that prettiness. So it's just a photo or a couple of photos of me and my children laying down, cuddling and watching TV a few years ago. And so I'm going to layer it there. It looks really nice in the fact that it's like a vertical representation of the photos, and it just goes really nice with the amount of mixed media and the shape of it. So I'm going to work on some little bit of layering, and here's where the layout takes a total turn, because I get stuck into the layering and then it's just too big to put back on to the mixed media and I have to take it another path, but that's okay because it works out. So I've got this cut apart sheet here that I've cut. I use the other side to back the dinosaur cut file. And so I'm just going to again use a bit of the offcut, and I'm just going to layer it like this. That other big piece that's up the top here, this piece here is the backing from the word stickers, I want to say. And so anyway, it's packaging. I know that much. It's packaging from the kit. So when I did my unboxing, I always look at the packaging, and if it's any of the cardstock or paper that has a nice pattern on it, then I like to keep it to use just for this reason of layering. So I'm just going to have a little play. Now I kept this in because my layering was a big feature of the layout and exactly what changed the tone of the layout and the look of the layout. And sometimes I've heard people ask how to do layering and how to make it, make the abstract work. So I've got this banner here and I'm just trying to make it work by sitting it there. So I just don't want to always, I don't want to be talking heaps, but I just want to let you see the way my brain is working as I'm putting things together. See, just put something down and then look at it and then move to something else. I really like this card that says happy with the rainbow colors of it, and it's just really pretty. I don't want to cover that one up, that's for sure. So just cutting it, and then I want to use it as like an embellishment piece. So I'm going to stick it to the side there. And this is where I realize I can't have both sides really big. So I'm going to layer underneath on the right side more. So every little, just feel free to move. It's nothing stuck down, so you don't have to, nothing's committed to. Just play around. You can see this is working together, just some little scrap pieces, some little cut pieces, whatever you have. This is a really good way when you've killed the kit and you think, oh, there's just little pieces of paper all just left, and I really could, maybe there's something I can use. It's really good to put all those little tiny pieces underneath some photos and layer it that way. Now I pulled out a couple of texture items from my stash. So I've got some what's this, tissue paper, and I'm going to double layer that behind. as my base. It's always nice to have a base that is just one solid piece, and it's always, tissue paper is a nice way to do it, but doesn't have to always be. And then we have this tulle that's in my stash that I haven't used before, obviously, because the packet was unopened. And so I'm going to layer some of the purple and blue pieces, and then I have this spotty envelope, but I don't know if I use that actually. So you can see that's looking nice, and I'm going to cut that one in half so it looks like I have a big piece of cardstock that it goes underneath the photos, because I don't have one big enough because it's the packaging. And then I'm coming back to this happy because I really, really like it. So you can see all that playing around and it went totally different, but that's fine because as long as it works out in the end, that's how we want it. So there's some yellow, and I'm liking this, you know, what happens on one side happens on the other side in some kind of merit. So that's working for me. Then I go back and look at what else is in my really useful box in terms of paper and layering items. So the cut file pieces are always good for layering if you don't feel confident to cut into a big piece of pattern paper. Now there's this other phrase here, this one that's got magic with the rainbow hearts, and it just goes really nicely with that happy. Just fits in so perfectly. So I'm going to add those two pieces, and then I'm going to use this purple cut file piece up and the cut apart piece up the top to add some more purple. Here's where I realized it's too much, that matchy of the yellow was too much. So instead I'm going to bring it over and make it one long piece. And then what else am I going to do? So hopefully this is helpful for those people who are interested in layering and how it could happen, because next time I go and do a big layering piece it won't be like this at all, but it's just nice to play. Really, you can't go wrong. And then I'm going to move that to the side, and then I'm going to start sticking some things down. And I kept this in because there's a couple of little tricks. So I'm going to just use double-sided tape on the tissue paper. And then because it's doubled up, I do need to put a layer in of sticky tape or double-sided tape later, but I do that later. And then I'm just using my tiny attacher to staple the material, the tulle pieces, to the cardstock, because tulle is not going to stick with glue, it's not going to stick with double-sided tape. So do it that way. This is going to stick to the top of the tulle here. That's fine because the cardstock will also stick to it. And then I'm going to staple those together just because it's quicker than double-sided tape. And on it goes, and on that piece goes. And you can see it changed a bit when it went together. Now I'm going to stick these pieces on. And here's where I remember that there's 2 layers and I need to stick some tape between the 2 layers so that they the photo doesn't flop around on top of all the layers. And I'm not liking how that's sitting, so I'm just going to move that a little, have a little play. Does it go better on the other side? I'm going to rip that edge. Obviously it's always nice to do things before you stick them down, but sometimes you have to just go with the flow. And here is where, that's why I moved it to that left, the yellow and the blue, because of the mixed media. It's going to be too much on the right. But I'm going to move that a little bit, and then I'm going to stick down these 2 cut apart sheets or cards that say happy and the magic kind of phrases, because I really like the way they sat like that. Just going to put them on a bit of an angle to each other. And then I'm going to use my pen, just a black pen. I'm going to do a dotted line on this one. That's got the happy, the smaller one. And then I'm going to do a doodly straight, like a doodly line on the magic card. That just makes them pop off the page. So you can see that it makes a difference and makes them stand out and has their own edges rather than just blending in from the white to the white. So you can see here, once you put it on, it covers up way too much mixed media and it's just wasteful. So, and I look at straight over to my really useful box, and this paper stands out and I don't muck around, and I go straight for it. So I decide I'm going to keep that border strip, but I want to have some edge to the bottom, so I'm ripping that bottom so that it has some of the white cardstock's going to sit out on top, underneath it. So I do realise that this cardstock has this really lovely hearts on the other side, and I do try it, but it's just too much. Instead, I'm going to use it, there's a little bit cut off at the bottom, and then I remember that we have this border strip, and I think, oh, that would be nice. It's one of those things that I've pulled out for a few pages now, and realised that I do want to use it, but it's just not right. And then it becomes right putting it down there. So instead, I'm not going to keep that border strip up the top of the paper. I'm going to have that love heart strip in the bottom part. So just lining up the cardstock so that it's on, and then I'm going to cut off that top. It's a border strip and a little bit extra, and you can see how that just goes on like that. So I'm going to stick this one down and then finish embellishing and adding those finishing touches to the layout. I'm just using a fair bit of glue because obviously it's a big cluster. It's not like massively heavy, it's just a few pieces of cardstock, and the tulle obviously doesn't make any difference to it. In terms of weight, it does make a difference in terms of the look and the texture. So off with the double-sided tape, and then we're going to stick it down. Sorry, it's a little bit off the screen. Gosh, it's only a tiny bit, but enough to annoy me. So on it goes, just getting it as straight as or in the position I want. And then when I look at the sticker sheet, this little hand with the flower just looked like it would be a nice little spot, nice little sticker to put in that spot there. And because it's one of those stickers where I probably don't know where I would use it anywhere else, if it's going to work, I'm going to put it on. So then these beautiful flowers, these are really beautiful. I'm going to put them there in a couple of spots, and then this love heart's going to be up there. So I've got those two little clusters happening. Add some silver hearts, because why not? Silver is pretty. And then just going to have a little play with some of the pieces that are on the sticker sheet. There's so many pieces on this sticker sheet that just have worked. I've used them on a lot of the layouts so far. And then I'm going to reach in for these puffy stickers, the XOXO, and I'm going to put 2 XOs down the bottom here, and they're going to get a little bit bigger. So you can see the bottom one's smaller, the top one is bigger, and then up the top here is even bigger. So it's sort of like descending down the page and descending in size as well. Just a cute little point of something which you probably wouldn't even know it if I didn't say it. I'm going to add some journaling up here on this cut apart square that, you can't even tell it's a cut apart. It just looks like a layering of some pattern paper, but it's a perfect spot, I feel, to put some of the journaling. And then I'm going to add a couple of more things, and then we're going to call it a day. There's not too much that needs to happen. This beautiful rainbow just looks like it's going to fit so perfectly there. It brings in that rainbow of colour that's on the Happy and Magic cards and brings that colour to the top. So that's really cute, and also it's a nice layering piece between that embellishment. And then I'm going to think about some word stickers. So there's a couple of word stickers here on the sticker sheet. I'm just going to layer them up, but then the XO was in a little bit of the wrong spot for layering them up. So just having a little fiddle with them to make sure they're exactly where they need to be. And because I've pulled off the XO a few times, it was a bit loose. So I'm just going to glue them down with some glue. But hopefully this has inspired you to go and get creative, and to know that even if you've got an idea in your head when you start, doesn't mean you can't go with the flow and change things up. I've put that mixed media background to the side, and I'm sure I will use it as soon as I have an idea that comes together with it. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed it today, and I'll see you in our next video. Bye guys.